You're listening to The Main Event with Zach Gelb and Mike Zahn on WHIP.
11:35 is the time here in the WHIP studios. A man that I hired when he was a freshman is in here, and now he's here to send myself and Mike off into the sunset before we kick off and have reminiscing times of this show and all the great memories had. But first, Tom Hansen's good for one thing, and that's WHIP.
Hopefully more than one thing. But will you guys
eating cheesesteaks when you won the cheesesteak contest?
That's true. That was a good memory.
That's about it.
So I'll send you.
Updates.
I'll send you off into the sunset on horseback, like Jared Allen. How about that?
I would break the horse.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're brought to you by Peerless Boilers. It is Peerless who builds America's best boilers, and by iHeartRadio. Download the app for free using your smartphone or tablet to instantly gain full access to your favorite music, sports, and entertainment. Well, entering Game 6 at Wells Fargo, all momentum rested on the Flyers' shoulders, winning Games 4 and 5 in dramatic fashion against the Capitals. But unfortunately, the ride came to an end yesterday afternoon, and it only took one goal from Nicholas Backstrom.
Out of the box now is Ryan White. As Ovechkin back into the zone, Marcus Johansson, a pass, a shot, they score! Nicholas Backstrom in the right circle. Puck movement from left circle to right. And Michael Neuvirth is human after all. 11:01 to go in the second period in Game 6. Backstrom makes it 1-0. Washington!
And that's John Walton
Hold on.
Okay.
They're the Washington Capitals. I love a great call. That was a great call. But it's too dramatic for the first round for a team that won the President's Trophy.
It is just a bit. Yes.
Let's just be realistic. Like, if that was to go to the Stanley Cup Final because the Caps are notorious chokers, that's one thing. But first round win up against the Flyers? I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. Too dramatic for me.
It's a little excessive. Anyway.
His end of the game call, though, which I wanted you to play and you didn't play, was like they won the frickin' Stanley Cup.
I played this because I am describing what happened, the only goal. But I'm with you, Tom. That was quite excessive. That was like they won it all.
It was. I thought it was Randy Moeller for a second.
But John Walton with the call on the Capitals radio network. And so the Flyers season ends 1-0, the final in 6 games. A really impressive 3 games for Michael Neuvirth in net, just 2 goals on 105 total shots. But Braden Holtby earned the shutout, and the Caps will move on. They will face the Penguins in the semifinals as Pittsburgh ended the Rangers season in 5 games on Saturday. Sorry, Zach. Meanwhile, it was the Islanders who beat the Panthers in 6 games, and it took double overtime once again. John Tavares, the hero, their first playoff series win since 1993. They get to face the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now out in Milwaukee, it was the Brewers who salvaged a 3-game sweep over a 3-game set, over the Phillies 8-5. The Phillies have the day off to travel east as they begin a 3-game set with the Nationals in D.C. on Tuesday night. And lastly, Zach and Mike, it is your final show here on WHIP, and Greg, Frank, and I thought it would be nice to give you guys a little farewell tour. So we got some gifts for you, too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Just real quickly, we'll get to the gift in a second. Adam Schefter, and of course this has to happen, where we just mentioned a few moments ago.
You haven't even seen this, Tom.
No, you don't even know what's going to happen.
Oh, God.
There's about to be an explosion in this studio, and I know this board had coffee spilled in it, and we were off air for a week. I'm about to break the board myself.
Can I read it?
I'm about to freak out.
You want to read it?
No, I will read it.
Okay.
And I will
no
tell
idea.
you why. So a few moments ago, we mentioned how ecstatic I was doing the show, and I was like, Brady is back! He has returned! He's not sitting out 4 games!
Greg's crying, so this must be good.
Well, a bunch of jackasses in the U.S. Appeal Court reinstate New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady's suspension over Deflategate.
Oh.
There's a report out there. Now, let me say this, Tom. I'm going to lecture you.
I'm
take
right here.
it
I'm right
to
here.
the Supreme Court, go all the way to the top, and take down that pig and the commissioner of the National Football League and Roger Goodell. Like I've said before, a gun to my head, did Tom Brady have any knowledge about deflating those footballs? Yes. But still, it's an inane concept right here. It's like putting too much pine tar on a bat. It's absolutely ridiculous. The NFL is a bunch of frauds leaking a bunch of fake reports with Mike Kensel, that stupid old rat from the Jets back in those days, who was mad that Bill Belichick left him at the altar to go to the Patriots, and he gave that report falsely to Chris Mortensen that started this whole mess. And now Tom Brady is going to have to sit out 4 games. Give me a break. As someone that has read the entire Wells report, for them to say more probable or not is a freaking joke. Show me some evidence.
I would have never wanted our last show to end any other way. This is how I drew it up.
All right, now get me the stupid gift.
Now here's a
I'll
gift.
wipe my butt
Hold
with.
on.
Here's a gift.
Next winter, American Crime Story Season 2, The People versus Tom Brady.
There is going to be an appeal.
On FX.
There will
On
be a
FX.
Supreme Court appeal, and Tom Brady, who's never lost anything in his life, who is a great American, has beautiful kids, a smoking hot wife, and 4 Super Bowl rings, will win. He will be victorious, and then it's going to be great. Because even if he has to sit out for 4 games, and let's say he loses that appeal with the Supreme Court, which is probably the route that it's going to go, I can't wait till that slime ball and Roger Goodell, who's messed up every single thing in the history of him being commissioner in the National Football League, to give Tom Brady his 5th Super Bowl ring and another Lombardi trophy. Because that's how it's going to end. I'll do my prediction now. Gronk, Bennett, Brady, Super Bowl victory, and it's disgusting. I have JT over there, that stinking Jets fan that no one likes, celebrating right now. Well, guess what? He's just happy because his team can't beat my team in the division as long as my quarterback is not there. Rant over. Get me the gift. Let's see what the gift is.
Let's start with
I'm
Mike.
furious.
Let's start with Mike because it's his special day with the Islanders.
Okay.
So we got you this nice blue shirt. We found it online. It was hard to find anything good. You can read it off to the audience.
Of Long Island, where Ranger fans go for real hockey.
And thank God they won last night.
Otherwise, this would have been
Because you would have been
gift.
you'd be using that as a tissue.
that would have been sad, but I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm looking forward to this next one.
And Zach,
Oh boy,
for
is this,
you,
is this like politically correct? This shirt, because I'm not a politically
absolutely
correct
not.
guy. Ah!
Let me see.
This is amazing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you dopes! You got me the wrong size.
Oh, you
You have
dopes.
the audacity to think I'm a 2XL. I was a 2XL like 5 years ago.
You dopes.
I
I'm a
also
3XL. Oh, this
look,
is great.
Oh, my
It
goodness.
says 74 no more, September 5th, 2015.
I am also on
It
a
does sound
budget.
big. Oh, here we go, baby. This is great.
Wow.
You want the answer? Triple X costs $10 more.
Oh,
I would have
okay.
paid for it.
No,
Where'd you guys get this? This is an awesome shirt.
customink.com.
Oh, my God. I didn't
Nice
get you
little
guys
plug
any
there from
gifts.
them. You don't need to.
This is great. I'll come back next year and I'll get you some gift. You could quote me on that. It probably won't be true. All right,
But that's all.
let's get
Yeah,
now
that's
to-
all I have.
Let's get now. Great job,
Wow,
Tom, as
thank you,
always.
guys.
And,
All
and
for
Greg,
you
Thank
guys.
you so much.
No problem.
It shows that myself and Greg could actually get along with each other.
For a nice 20 seconds.
What a wild final show this was.
I do want to say to both Greg and Tom that you buying specifically Zach that shirt, our former social media coordinator Wes Kaminsky will have a ball with that shirt.
Yeah,
he
it will
will
be.
love it.
It's great.
He will
I had
love
people
it.
in the tech center come up to me after I had that call that went viral. That
Yes.
one call of the year, by the way, on WIP was up for the nominees. I had some kid come up to me. I'm in the tech sitting there one night, and I'm working on a paper, and some kid just screams out, 74, no more! So
Pretty
that was
crazy.
good. All right, let's get to it right now. So I started here at WHIP in 2012. I remember it. It was in the summer where Adam Clark, I was in the summer before I came to Temple. I was sending out all these emails to a bunch of professors that didn't even advise the station. I had no clue who John DiCarlo was. I was getting emails to check out the WRTI, and I was just trying to figure out how to get in contact with WHIP. I ended up getting an interview with Adam Clark, who was a sports director at that time, and he ended up hiring me. And being a member of WHIP was the greatest decision I've made in my college career. Myself and Mike, myself and Chase, we just had so much fun doing this show, where at the end of my freshman year, when I originally started on the Temple Sports Hour, it was about 9 people, and not too many people would talk on the show. We'd do interviews. I'd be the only one that would ask questions and stuff like that, but it was a whole lot of fun. I saw the potential of this station. So after that year, I decided to apply for sports director because there was an opening with Adam Clark, who was a sports director at the time, and then it was Ray Boyd. They both graduated, and they were great. I had some good memories with Ray, with Adam, and also Joe Califoot. So I applied for sports director, and I was robbed of sports director. Everyone thought I had it. I was told it was my job to lose. They ended up giving it to someone else named Haley Condon. And from there, they created a position for me, director of remote broadcasting. Me not getting sports director was probably the greatest thing to happen because of the fact that I was able to really, for 1 year, and ended up being more than 1 year, just going out there and take the level of our remote broadcasting, that something was in the infant stages, to the next level with the help of the great Joe Califoot, who would eat about 9 cheesesteaks in the press box before a Temple game. Also,
and now Tom's taking that over.
Yeah, right?
Hey, all records are meant to be broken.
Meant to be broken. You may just have an asterisk on it because you probably use some steroids or some other enhancers to get that cheesesteak
Or I just puke and rally.
Yeah, right? That's a problem.
He trains with donuts. Yeah. Krispy Kreme donuts he trains with.
That's true. So then in the summer, I was at Pine Forest Camp where I work, and I'm thinking to myself, how can I make our show better? And I looked at the sports department, and I sent an email out to the program director at that time and the sports director coming up with this show, the main event. Because the old sports department, Stadium Talk, used to be 2 hours, and 2 hours of Stadium Talk, although the people on that show worked very well, it was just too much for college radio to do 5 days a week. So at first they told me, the main event probably won't happen. We don't want to do a show with only 2 people because it was suggested to be myself and Chase. And then I fought for my idea because my parents always taught me, who I love, to fight for what you believe in. And I thought that we deserved to have this show. Get an email back later on that summer that the show's going to happen. Zach Martin created an excellent intro for the show from WFAN and CBS. And then myself and Chase did the show for a year, and we knocked it out of the park. We got some fantastic guests. And then when Chase graduated, I was trying to think who could fill his shoes. I thought of many people. But then Mike approached me about it, and Mike, you're one of my best friends, and I love you. And you came on, and you've done a sensational job this year. It was like Chase never left, and we never missed the beat. And Chase is a difficult person to try to replace because of the great things he did for this station. We had so much fun doing this show, and even when I was in high school doing shows on Ucaster, Showvio.com, or even Talk USA, I said to myself for Blog Talk Radio, I always want to do a show that had compelling sports talk and the best industry guests. And we did, because I'll read you a lot of the guests that we've had, and I'll forget some people here, but we thank each and every person that has given us a second on the air, even if it was positive or negative. For hockey, we had Pierre Maguire, Eddie Olczyk, JR, Jeremy Roenick, Mike Eruzione, Craig Berube, Henrik Lundqvist, Wayne Simmons, Claude Giroux, Keith Jones, Sidney Crosby, Steve Coates, Ken Danico. For baseball, Hall of Famer Tom Glavine, Cliff Floyd, John Franco, Tom McCarthy, Sean Estes, Charlie Manuel. For football, the legendary Brian Dawkins, Jim Fossil, Vince Papale, Dan Klecko, the great mind and Ray Didinger, Zach Berman, Bruce Arians, Sam Madison, Mike Ditka, Ron Jaworski, Rich Gannon, Brian Baldinger. We had Heisman Trophy winners and Derrick Henry, Marcus Mariota, Johnny Manziel, some of the best insiders, and Adam Schefter, Jay Glazer, Temple guys that went on to do great things in the NFL, Todd Bowles, Muhammad Wilkerson. We had Emmanuel Acho on after the whole prom story, Dahani Jones, Hall of Famer James Lofton, Hall of Famer Mike Haynes, Tiki Barber, Hollis Thomas, Boomer Esiason, Dion Lewis, Ted Johnson, Kevin Falk, Eddie Lacy, Peter King, who's a preeminent writer in the nation. Then for basketball, Mike, we had Kenny Anderson, Keon Dooling, Chuck Everson, Aaron McKee, the great Larry Brown, Dave Miller, Seth Greenberg, Stephen A. Smith, Josh Pastner. My favorite, though, after all these years really has been, and we mentioned all those guys, it really were the announcers. Whether it was Jim Nance, Mike Breen, your favorite, I know how much you love this one, and Doc Emmerich. The always funny and entertaining Ian Eagle, Kenny Albert, who's the nicest person that you'll meet in this business. Bigger names like Bob Costas. We also had Garbage into Gold, Mark Zumoff. Chris Fowler came into WHIP to do an interview. Reese Davis, Jim Jackson, Merrill Reese, Kevin Kugler, the great Harry Donahue. Harry Donahue is such a fantastic person and does a great job mentoring young broadcasters like myself and Mike. And then you can't forget Dick Vitale. We also can't forget the coaches here at Temple. Fran Dunphy and Matt Rule. Anytime we asked for them, they came on, whether it was after a big win or a big loss, they came on to talk about their team and answer the questions. And also the talk show host, the Mike Francesa, Christopher Mad Dog Russo, Josh Innes. I know he's supposed to come on today, but we've had him on before. Angelo Cataldi, Sid Rosenberg, who's been a great radio mentor to me. Kirk Minahan from Sports Radio WEI. Rob Ellis, Glenn Ordway, Glenn McEnow. And also, Mike, we had the heated interviews. O.J. McDuffie and myself going at it about Penn State my freshman year. Mike Sealski. The Sealski interview is the one that probably got so much, it was so popular because so many people were so fired up. And we went on there and we debated Sealski. And I'll tell you, I thought we kicked his ass in the debate. I really did.
I thought it was a really good interview, and I'm happy it happened early on in the year. It really set the tone for the rest of our interviews.
It really did. And we went out there, and my favorite part of the interview when he was like, oh, it was mainly Penn State fans there. And then we both interrupted him and said, no. Like, look at the pictures, at least go to the building. But we do appreciate Mike from coming on. We also had some tremendous remote broadcasts. Going to Notre Dame for my first play-by-play experience was just something I'll always remember with Chase and Ross. Going to Vanderbilt, having to sit through that rain delay and having to unplug and replug the equipment 1,000 times because all the equipment was getting rained on and we had to make sure that we weren't going to lose it. Going to Houston with you and myself decking you, reenacting the Houston security guard dealing with the fans was very fun. Also the Boca Bowl. Although we wish we won that game, Temple, the condensation in the booth made it tough to see.
That was a fun experience.
Right? It was raining out there, and all of a sudden we're trying to call a game and we could barely see what was going on in the field. The time we met Tom Brady, my favorite quarterback of all time, at Gillette Stadium. When we stayed at Mohegan Sun, we got to Gillette, and in came the whole entire Patriots team before they went on a road trip to Buffalo. One of my favorite remote broadcasts at the Pennsylvania Convention Center. It was the three of us, myself, you, and Tom, where we did the radio broadcast of our show for 2 hours before the Army-Navy game and had some really good guests that day. And then, of course, Radio Row as well. There was nothing better than going to Radio Row for the Super Bowl these past 3 years, because 1 year it got canceled, the year my team was in the Super Bowl. And then we got credentials for events. Myself and Mike covered many Flyers games together. I got to cover NHL playoff games, Heisman Trophy presentations, NCAA tournament, and a large reason of that is because we have great PR people here in Philadelphia and also just really all on the East Coast. And a Brian Smith from the Flyers, from Temple. I can't thank Larry Dock and Rich Berg more than enough. John Rosasco and Ryan Nissen from the Rangers, Pat Hanlon from the Giants, and Brett from the Eagles. The point was, Temple University has given us so many great opportunities. And I don't want to sound arrogant here, but we ran with them. And we gave the audience a compelling sports talk with some of the best industry guests. And it was nice to see that we made 3 national headlines and also some local headlines at our time here at Temple. Whether it was the Bruce Arians interview getting picked up by NBC and NBC Sports, the Boomer Esiason interview the other day getting picked up by NJ.com, and even Anthony Lee, when he came into the studio when he transferred, that got picked up by Comcast Sportsnet. Before I turn it over to you, Mike, I just have to thank some few people here. John DiCarlo. John DiCarlo is the heart and soul of this station. He does a tremendous job being an advisor. Him and Kevin Nagandi are great friends, and Kevin talks about it all the time. John has never changed. And John, you're a tremendous human being, and you mean so much to me for what you did here at Temple. I'm going to miss those long talks in his office, whether we were complaining about the station or talking about how great the station was. But John DiCarlo never said no to us and sent us on so many trips, and we're thankful for him. Ray Boyd, Adam Clark, Joe Califoot, you know how much they mean to me, Evan Ruga as well, and producers of this show. We had Chris Birkbeck, Seth Wozniak, and Brendan Curry. They always added a great element. Also, Tom Hanslin did a great job with Greg Frank and John Cole. And I also have to thank the WIP Morning Show. I served as an intern there, and I learned so much from the bright minds of a Keith Jones, a Rhea Hughes, and Al Morganti, a Joseph Wechter, and also an Angelo Cataldi, Joe Conklin, that entire team. I also have to thank my main man, Ray Martell, who's been a number one fan for me. And then, of course, I have to thank my family, because my parents and my sister and the rest of my family, they never say no to me, and they're always there for me with some good advice, maybe some bad advice at times, but they always had the best interests for me, and they always want to see me succeed. So that's basically all I got, Mike. It was a lot, but we had a whole lot of fun doing this show, and I'm going to miss coming to this station every day, saying live from the palatial, yet not overly ostentatious studios of WHIP Radio in Philadelphia, and having you mock me behind the air, off the air when I do that stuff. But this is a whole lot of fun. We put our heart and soul into it. I'd like to thank Peerless Boilers. Peerless does build America's best boilers. Visit peerlessboilers.com for a dealer nearest you. And remember, it's Peerless who builds America's best boilers. Pete Morgan, you're my man. I love you. You're great. But we'd also like to thank the fans. Because whether it's Adam Dvorin, the Temple Temperers, when we go into a parking lot and two college kids get recognized with a cheering audience when I go on with Harry Mays, I'm shocked by that stuff. But this was a whole lot of fun, Mike. And I know you had fun with it, too.
I certainly did. Seldom am I overly nice. I think that my love is tough love, and I think that I tend to be sly and sarcastic. So, Gelb, because that's how I'm going to refer to you, because that's how I know you best.
That's how most people know me.
You've done a fantastic job here, and I can't thank you enough for giving me this opportunity and all the things that you've taught me along the way, and all the things that I've learned from you. And I really do truly believe that I've learned a lot about this industry. I think I've learned a lot about what it takes to be in this industry and in this business, and I hope to continually learn. I know that you're going to kill it after this, and
so will you.
I appreciate
You're
it.
the brightest hockey mind I know. We had all these great hockey guests still. Mike Zahn, when he drops out, which players played for the Mooseheads?
Halifax Moosehead.
And which player played at this age when he was 15 years old. It's sickening how much you know about hockey.
8,100, what was it?
It was 8,381 days since the Islanders last won a playoff series.
Yeah.
I just want to add in a couple more things. It was a fun year, whether we were on the road, whether we were yelling at each other on the radio station, whether sometimes we got heated with a couple text messages going back and forth. It was all in good fun, and it was all for the same common goal, and I wouldn't have wanted to spend it with anyone else than you, Zach.
Wow, I'm going to cry.
I know.
That means so much.
And you will never hear me say that many nice things again to you, Zach. But
Let me just
fortunately,
check.
yes, fortunately it's recorded. Woo! Yes, but these words will likely never be replicated again. It will be in that audio file. Put it wherever you'd like. But Zach, it has been a pleasure.
It's been great. Once again, we'd like to thank each and every person that has made this show possible, whether it was on the Temple Sports Hour or this show on the main event. It's been great. It really has been. It was a fun 2-year ride with Chase, doing the show with him in my sophomore and junior year, and then this year it got even better with you, Mike. So, once again, that's all the time we have today. We'd like to thank each and every one of you for listening. We'll forever be grateful to Temple University for giving us this opportunity to do this show, and all the fine folks at all the e-boards throughout the year at WHIP Radio. But that's all the time we have today. Until we talk next time, it may not be on this airways, but hopefully professionally for myself and Mike, it's on some other radio station. We'll just see who's smart enough or stupid enough to hire us. He's Mike Zahn. I'm Zach Gelb. For Tom Hanslin and everyone here at WHIP, it's been a true pleasure to do this show, and I'm going to miss it. So I'm not going to cry here. I got choked up a little bit this morning, but that's it. Thank you so much. It means so much to me. And one final time. Peace!
High hopes he had, high hopes he had, high apple pie in the sky. Hope so anytime you're feeling bad, instead of feeling sad, just